Hello everyone, and welcome back to my crafting world. This is Anna. Today to make an exploding mini album box. So basically it's your exploding box with a mini album in it. So it is going to be rather small. It is 4.5 by 4.5. I am going to be using the Mente Graceful, and I am going to accent it with gold. And then the solid color is going to be this really pretty green. And I believe this is they're both Recollections. So the first thing that I am going to need, I'm going to work on the box itself. And I am using 5 pieces of chipboard that are 4.5 by 4.5 because that's the size of our box. The mini album itself is going to fit 4 by 4 photos. So I try to figure out what is the best cutting guide so that I don't have a whole bunch of scraps when I'm making my album pages. So the first thing I'm going to do is I need to cover 4 of these. One is for the bottom, so I don't have to cover that, at least not yet. I need to cover 4 of these chipboard pieces with the green paper that I have lined up. So let me cut this on the shorter end side at 5 3/8. Okay, so I need 4 of these. Then I am going to cut it at 5.5. So there are my 2 covers for 2 of my flaps. So I have to keep in mind which one is my 5 3/8 side. My 5.5. So I'm going to glue down side this way to where I have one edge that's a little bit longer, because that's what I'm going to be attaching to the base. So I need 4 of these. So let me cut 2 more. All right guys, so we cover all 4 pieces with double-sided tape, or you can use glue if you wish. I'm using tape. So after I remove the backing, again, remember one side is a little bit longer than the other. So this is my 5.5 inch side. This is going to become a tab. So what I'm going to do is take one of these and lay my square down, and I'm gonna just, this is the same size, 4.5 by 4.5. So I'm going to go ahead and lay this down to where I am going to get a little bit on the top, just enough to wrap the, the edge down. Burnish that. And I'm going to take my score tool and just go ahead and score this all the way around. Okay, so I'm going to cut my ends here, just like a mini album. And I'm going to leave that end like that for the moment. I'm going to fold these in. I have to figure out how I'm going to cut that. I think I'm going to cut it just straight across this way. Okay, and then a small angle on this side. Okay, now I am going to glue this down. Oh, I didn't show you guys. Some of you know, some of you don't. My favorite movie series are The Hunger Games, and I ordered this from Scrapping Posh. She had a live on the Facebook group for ASC Supplies, and she made this one in a live that she was hosting, and she put it in her Etsy store. And of course, you know, the very first thing I had to do was make sure she only had one. I had to make sure that I was the one that ordered it because it's my favorite. So let me go ahead and glue this down. And this, I know it's a short tab, but I want to make the best use of my paper. Let me burnish this until it adheres down. And I may have cut it just a little short on the corner. And I did, darn it. Okay, well, it is what it is, and we'll figure that out later. I'm at a point where I can actually just make another one, but I only have 5 sheets of this green paper, and I may not have enough if I make another one. Okay. So you're going to do this to all 4 sides. So what I'm going to do is glue my 4 sides right here this way. And what I'm going to do is just leave a tiny gap, just the score line. I'm just not putting glue on the score line. And then I'm going to glue each one of them down like that. So let me do one with you guys so you'll see what I'm talking about. So there is my score line. Okay, this is my bottom piece. I'm going to place this right here, making sure my edges are aligned. And I barely meet that score line, okay? Just make sure that your lid can lift, or not your lid, but your side can lift. There we go. So I am going to do all 4 sides the very same way, okay? So the next one will be glued right there, and so on. Okay, so I have all 4 sides glued down. Okay, there's that. And as you can see, there's barely a gap. Less, probably it's 1/16 of an inch. So on the back, I am going to glue down a piece to cover the back. May as well get that done. And this is, I think I cut it just a tad bit too small. This is 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. I could have gone 4 5/8. And I won't cut another one because I've already, remember, I don't have but about 5 sheets of this. So let me glue this down, and that will take care of the outside of the bottom of the box, or the box part. Okay, that is the bottom. So I'm going to flip it over. To join this and cover the chipboard, I have cut some pieces of cardstock at 4 1/2 by 1. Remember, the box is 4 1/2 inches wide. So I'm just going to score these in half. Okay, and I am going to cut an angle on these 4 pieces. That is what's going to join my box. And before you actually put it in there, go ahead and measure it and make sure that it's not extending to one side or the other. Okay, but I'm going to put it down with the side down, and then once it's glued in, then fold it up and make sure that my side is going to open and close properly. Okay, so let me see. It should fit. Yeah, okay. So I'm not going to get too close to that score line. Let me see if I can do it on this side. Okay, guys, and I hope you can see that that score line, I just lined it up right at the edge of the chipboard. Then I'm going to glue this side down, and I'm going to take my tool and just burnish that in a little bit so that it will fold nicely. And there we go. Okay, and you know, over time it gets looser. And you don't want to fold all the way down because you don't want to tear this side. So it doesn't need to go all the way down, it just needs to go that far up. Okay, and yes, it will get looser over time. And then with the weight of, you know, all the paper and all that, it'll go down easier. So I'm going to join all 4 sides, and I'll be right back. I have all 4 joining pieces right here at the bottom. So our box goes this way. Okay, after the lid is on. Okay, that is a great start. And the next thing I'm going to do, I have set aside a piece of 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 square that's going to go right here in the middle, and this is going to be our hinge guide. And for this, remember guys, this is just a guide. It's not going to be your an actual traditional hinge. So for this one, I'm going to score every 1/4 inch. Okay, and it doesn't have to be deep scores, just so you don't lose your little line there. So every 1/4 inch, and we need to make sure that this square is an even square, because if not, it's going to make your pages be off. Okay, this is our guide for our page placement. We will end up with 16 score lines. Okay, so if I put it this way, right here, if I glue it down, this is going to be my front. Okay, if I glue it this way, this is going to be my front. So if you feel like there is one, you know, side that looks better than the other, you can, you know, determine which one you want to be the front. But I think mine look all the same. So I'm going to glue this right to the center. Okay, this is where my pages are going to go. Put in our pages next. Okay, let me tell you what you're going to need for that. I cut my sheet at 8 1/4 by 4 1/4 wide, scored it at 4 and 4 1/4, folded it, put glue on here, spread your glue and make sure that the entire surface, or you can use tape, is covered with glue. The only reason I'm using glue is because it'll allow me extra time to get it in place. And then I'm skipping the next one, and I'm going to go onto the following set of score lines. And our mini album is starting to form. Okay, so I am going to glue the following 6 pages, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, I've glued down my last one, and there is our album. Okay, oh, that's looking good so far. Making sure that everything is going to close, and yes, there we go. Nice. You can, you know, alter the size to make it, you know, larger if you want, you know, a larger size. Okay, so there we go. There's that. I am liking the way this turned out. Guys, I've kind of steered away from making prototypes, so I didn't know if this was going to work out for me or not. But it looks like it's going to be fine. Okay, so I'm going to work on the lid, and I've already worked out measurements for the lid, but I only have that one sheet, or I think I have still 2 sheets of this, so I am going to cut it up. Now I am going to make it out of cardstock, okay, and then I'm going to layer it and whatnot, and it'll become sturdy enough to, you know, to use as the lid. Now I do have 2 sheets left of this color, but I'm going to make the lid first, then maybe I'll cover these, but I'm thinking I'm just going to use the, you know, the matting pieces for this, and I may use a matting piece for each one of these pages. We'll see. So for the lid, I'm cutting a piece that is 6 5/8 by 6 5/8, and I'm going to score it 1 inch all the way around. So this is 6 5/8 by 6 5/8. I am going to score 1 inch all the way around, flipping my paper after each score. Let me go ahead and burnish. All right, and this is where we cut our tabs. So I'm going to cut straight down and an angle on the tab itself. Okay, we're going to do this all the way around. So cut straight down and a tab, and then flip it over. We're going to do it to the opposite side. All right, we're going to glue these in like that and form our lid. I have glued my lid together. Let me bring in the box and see if it's gonna fit all right. There we go, guys. Fits nicely. I like that. Yeah, it doesn't look like I need to make it any larger. It looks okay. Nice and snug. Now, I don't know, once I layer all of this, if I might need to make the lid just a tad bit larger. But what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and before I decorate the lid, I'm going to go ahead and put down all my matting pieces front and inside and outside, and see how the lid fits then. Okay, so let me do that and I'll be back. Okay, so as you can tell, I have finished the Exploding Box mini album, and this is what I've done to the lid. And just so you know, I did not change any measurements on the lid. This lid is made with the measurements that I gave you during the tutorial. So on the lid, I put, this is chipboard here on the back, the gold layer, that's chipboard wrapped in gold foil paper, the mirror cardstock. And then on top of it, I put a pink layer, and then I made the top layer. This is from one of the cut aparts, and it is up on foam to give it dimension. And then I put some lace in there, tucked some lace in, and I made this bow, guys, and let me tell you, that was really easy to cut out with my thin dies. That synthetic leather is really easy to cut out with the thin dies. I was very impressed. So anyway, that is what this bow is made out of. And then I did use this beautiful brooch that I had gotten from Sherry Jones. And I just cut off the back, the pin part. So I E6000 that on there so it won't come off. And then I put some flowers here at the bottom. And this one is from my design team package, as well as this one right here. And this one's a Prima. And then this one was from my stash. And this word sentiment says beautiful. That is from the Stamperia Passion collection that I just worked with. And, you know, it matches pretty well. So on this flower right here and this one, I used some Glitterific. Guys, this is really cool. I get it from Hobby Lobby, and it's easier for larger surfaces to use than the stickles. So this is what I used. And I did just put down just little clusters of it. There's one right here, another one over here, right here on the paper, right here. And I just think it adds just, you know, a really cool touch to it. And then I did use stickles on some of the flowers though, and I'll show you the other side in a little bit right here. And this is Glitterific. And then these right here are the pops of color that I got from scrapbook.com. And that is all I've done to the top. And this is the front of the box, and I use this image for the top layering piece. I did use the mirrored cardstock at the bottom. I did use some stickles on just this panel right here, which is the front. On the lid, I used some of the Blue Fern Studio trim that I had gotten in my design team package, and I put some bling on the top. And then I just used various images from the collection around the box, and then on the bottom I didn't do anything. So when I take off the lid, it does open that way. And what I did here on the inside is I put in a little picture frame for each one, and then a little just a mat where they can glue the picture down onto, and then just slide it back in there. There we go. With a gold bow, I did the 2 layers of paper, and I did that to each one of them. And I did the openings to where you can, you don't have to be turning the box around to see anything, any of the pictures or insert them or anything. So I feel like that's easier. And on the pages themselves, I didn't do anything because I felt like we can use the entire thing for photographs. And I was going to put a really thin strip between each one, but oh my gosh, that is really, really thin. So I decided not to, but I did put one between each of the, or every other page, which is between each one of the pages that we did make together. And there we go. So it'll have one every other page. There we go. So I didn't do anything to this, but I did, you know, just put a little border around it. And there you go. I mean, it was really pretty quick to make. It's not really difficult. And I think the turnout is really, really nice. The lid fits snug, and that's what I wanted because it keeps the box closed and there aren't, you know, really, you know, gaps in between the, you know, large gaps between the flaps here. So there we go, guys. I think it turned out really cute. I did like it, and you know, it works really well, I think. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I will talk to everyone later. Y'all have a great day. Thanks a lot, guys.